Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. Welcome to today's episode. Of course, I'm John Shipley, your host and beat reporter. Today we are talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars already turning the page to the Denver Broncos. They chewed the Jets up, spat them out. Not much to dissect from that game. Trevor Lawrence is playing really well. Defense is playing really, really well. Jacoby Myers has been a big help. Travis Etienne's having a great year. Brian Thomas Jr. is back. Seems to be the general, quick takeaways of that game. I think that for the Jaguars and just where their mindsets have been all season long, and I said this repeatedly last week, I don't think it was an issue for them to stay focused on the task at hand and not look too far ahead to this next matchup with the Denver Broncos. Because you can see naturally how one would. I mean, you're facing one of the worst teams in the NFL one week and then the number one seed in the AFC the next week. That's quite the whiplash. It's only human nature. If they would have looked ahead a bit, I know a lot of people did. A lot of fans, media, etc. And now that the Jets game is business taken care of, they can put it behind them. The Jets, as a franchise, as a base, as an entity, as a really anything, Midas style that the Jets have ever touched, are simply not relevant in terms of where the Jaguars are going in 2025. The Jaguars are a winning team, sitting at 10-4. They have a bright future. Their new head coach, quarterback's playing really well, and thankfully for them, thanks to Frank Gore getting the first down against the Rams a couple years ago, he is their quarterback and not New York. So the Jaguars can officially slam the door on the irrelevancy that is the New York Jets. Now the Jaguars have the Broncos, and I'll be the first to tell you, I am staying steadfast, which I typically do. I can be stubborn in these. In my evaluation of Bo Nix, I continue to think that Bo Nix is Gardner Minshew with a hefty price tag attached to him. And instead of the Minshew who was put behind the 2019-2020 Jacksonville Jaguars offensive line and coaching staff, etc., he has the best offensive line in the NFL and one of the best head coaches and offensive minds of an entire generation, and Sean Payton. So I still hold in my belief, and I know he played well against the Green Bay Packers, but I still hold in my belief that Bo Nix is meh. Have his good moments, can have his disastrous games. I mean, I know nobody's attention span is very long in 2025, but I remember in the not too distant past where Mile High Stadium was booing Bo Nix and the Broncos offense off the field. So it's not like they're going up against a absolute juggernaut, powerhouse, will steamroll any defense in front of them offense. Now, it is a talented offense, 100%. Elite offensive line. Cortland Sutton's playing at a high level. Obviously, Troy Franklin has become a nice weapon in his own right. Marvin Mims can make some plays. They have Evan Ingram as kind of an auxiliary option in the passing game. It will be interesting to watch Ingram against the Jaguars for the first time. And when I look at the Broncos, I mean, they obviously have some talent up and down their skill position depth chart. They have talent at running back. They're going to miss J.K. Dobbins, but I know R.J. Harvey got dinged a bit at the end of the game, but he's a good player. They picked up Cody Schrader, the former Jaguar, for several months, which was only interesting to me because it would not be interesting merely because the two teams play this week. Like, just because they play this week and the Broncos claim a guy who's with the Jaguars for an extended period of time, that doesn't send anything in my radar. I think that, obviously, when you look at what they have, though, on offense, and I know R.J. Harvey got dinged. But I think that 3 other active running backs on the roster, 2 running backs on their practice squad, did they need a 6th running back on their roster? I'd probably venture to say no. So, the Jaguars are a team that's finally compelling enough and in high enough stakes games for some 4D chess and gamesmanship to go on, and all is obviously fair in love and war. But I think the Broncos have, solid offense, obviously a great play caller. I think if you're the Jaguars, the biggest issue for them might be the Bo Nix scrambles. The Jaguars have not been great at stopping scrambling quarterbacks this season. I mean, Brady Cook made some plays, with his legs. I think they were okay with, letting the scrambles happen and conceding that and getting some advantages in other aspects. But, I mean, you saw where it came into play with Davis Mills and his game-winning touchdown. I don't know if it's because of, I guess, the combined skill sets they have at the linebacker position. Both linebackers are really good downhill. I wouldn't say either's especially rangy and is just going to hawk a guy down. I think Bo Nix using his legs is going to be the biggest thing the Jaguars have to watch out for on Sunday. And then obviously, looking at the other side of the ball, it's clear where the Jaguars are going to have to win this week. The Jaguars' offensive line has its biggest test of the year, and they've played some great fronts. They've played Houston twice. They've played the Seahawks. They've played the Rams. I mean, these are some really talented defensive fronts that have been on their schedule this season. This is the best one, though. I mean, in terms of getting after the passer, this is the best one in the NFL. The Broncos and Vance Joseph, because of the roster that they've built and the way they've been able to develop guys up front, that they have really built a defense that, and I know no defense blitzes 0% of the time, but basically every passing down, they can drop 7 back there. The most guys you can have out on a route is 5. So even if you have no extra protection in a tight end or at running back, and you're going 5 wide every play, the Broncos still have 2 more guys than you can account for. And they have a numbers advantage. And on top of having that numbers advantage, they have the best cornerback in football in Patrick Surtain. So how the Jaguars front navigates that challenge, to me, will be what decides this game. I really don't know which way to lean, because obviously the Jaguars' offensive line has had, its down moments. That Seahawks game especially, the second Houston game. But I also think they've surpassed my expectations really all season long. And there's been a lot of games I went into thinking, is this a question mark? And they went ahead and took care of business. And it didn't look like a question mark. So I think ultimately for the Jaguars, this is a week that means a lot. There's a lot at stake. I mean, this is a game, I know nobody wants to hear it, but could decide the AFC South race depending on what happens with the Houston Texans, who have a very favorable schedule. They play the Raiders, and then I believe the Colts and the Chargers. And probably if you're guessing who has the edge in each of those games, you're probably saying the Texans. They and the Jaguars, 2 hottest teams in the AFC right now. I'd add in the Broncos, 2 hottest teams in the AFC, maybe in the NFL. It'll be a good one this weekend in Denver. The Jaguars have an absolutely monumental game, and like Liam Cohen has said, they have earned the opportunity to play in these big moments. Thank you guys for listening to today's episode of the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter at Jaguars on SI. We'll be back next time.